And one thing that we'll obviously spend most of today on is that James Cook is the only absentee, the only player not there. It is voluntary. And then we've got to get to Joey Bosa as well, because him already being injured is a story as well. Let's start here, though, Sal. Cook not being there, I don't know, how did you feel like McDermott sounded about it? Are you surprised even that, because even didn't you say that they don't usually give attendance at these things? So is it weird maybe or not weird that he kind of, like right out there for everybody, like the only guy not here is James?
Yeah, for the last couple of years, I think Sean's kind of said if a guy's been there or not that's notable, and I'd give you a reason just so you know. But it's not like they go through a list like they do during regular season. This guy's limited, this guy's not here. But for the last couple of years, if I remember right, Sean has given a couple names. Hey, he's dealing with something. He's out personal. You won't see him out there. Just to kind of head it off at the pass so we don't go out there in the media like, where's this guy? I think James, everybody understands. Like, that's the... for Sean McDermott's role, I think as head coach, he understands we're all going to be looking for that, and we're going to be asking him about it. So he's just going to come out and tell us right now, hey, he's not going to be out there today. But he also made sure to say, we're staying in contact. James will be here when he's ready to be here. I didn't think it sounded any different, Joe, than it has for the last month and a half, 2 months. You go back to the owners' meetings, combine, whatever, when you're talking about contract extension questions we've given Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, attendance questions, whatever it is. I don't think anything sounded different yesterday from Sean McDermott than what we've heard from McDermott and Beane for the last 2 months, which is, yep, he's under contract. He'll be here when he needs to be here. Mm-hmm. And right now he's not. So, hey, he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say this yesterday specifically.
Sure.
But this is kind of how it sounded to me. And, okay, we're going to go out there. I think the other reason why I think Sean gave attendance yesterday, because I think he's really proud that everybody else is there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, everybody's here, including, by the way, Josh Allen. I didn't think Josh would be there yesterday.
Yeah. No, I was thinking he probably wouldn't be there either, just because the wedding seemingly being this weekend.
Right.
But he was.
Who knows if he's there today or tomorrow? We're not there for the media.
Right.
So it could very well be, hey, he showed up for a day or 2 days or whatever. Mm-hmm. He could be there all week. I don't know. He even showed up to his 117 holes for charity in the morning yesterday. I was told he played in the morning 12 holes. I got there at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he played 12 holes, then he went to OTAs.
Yeah.
And he wasn't at the reception part last night. But that just says a lot, I think, that Josh is still here doing that, goes to OTAs, but yeah.
It is his event, and it's for a great cause. Josh Allen having to play 12 holes, though, doesn't sound like too much of a burden.
No,
but I understand. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes, because he's there then at practice, and then the schedule's getting, jam-packed together. But for Cook, I'm very curious to see how this goes, just in now what the next steps are, because this is the last voluntary thing. Right? Like, once they get to minicamp.
This weekend, next week, yes.
This weekend, next week is voluntary.
3 days each.
And then we get to mandatory stuff.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, even if he's not there for minicamp, really, I feel like training camp is the big one. Because if he's not there for minicamp and that's mandatory, that will be a story. It'll still, to me, be, though, these are warning shots that, hey, I could hold out. I want a new deal. I am not happy with my current contract. No one has to guess about James Cook's motivation here or what his deal is. His deal is he's not happy with his current contract. That is
yes.
It's written on his social media pages. He's been very clear about that. Even if he hadn't said it, you probably could figure out, he's a running back who is going to make $4 million this year, had 16 touchdowns last year, and does, I understand where he would be coming from. I understand where the Bills are coming from, too, because, me personally, I would never want my team to operate paying running backs big contracts on their second deals. But I also do understand where James Cook is coming from. He plays a position that in the league will chew you up and spit you out. That position, man, you are one bad knee injury away from poof, there goes your big contract. the one big contract that you might earn in your career at that position, you're one bad injury away at all times at that position from losing it. And he's got a brother that played the position and has gone through all of this before. So, like, it's not surprising to me that Cook could push for this. I still don't know that he will, right? Like, I don't really feel like he's yet pushing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not ugly. No one would call it ugly. The guy's not at OTAs. So, for me, like, in my personal opinion is I wouldn't necessarily want to see the Bills pay him $15 million a year, which is what he's asking for. And I also fully understand that he asked for it because of the position he plays. And the season he just had.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's not, for me, it more lies in the story is not necessarily that he's not at OTAs. The story really is more of the wondering and intrigue of what his plan is. Right now. We don't know, as of right now, if he'll be there in 2 weeks at mandatory minicamp. I think that's when it starts to become more of a story. If he misses mandatory minicamp, okay, he's not there. This is getting a little serious. It's still not training camp.
Yeah.
It's mandatory minicamp. It's the middle of June. Okay, yeah. It's June 10, 11, 12. It becomes a little bigger story. To me, more than anything right now is what kind of story do we have on our hands? Because we don't know what his plan is. Mm-hmm. Is his plan to not be at training camp? Is his plan to hold in at mandatory minicamp or at training camp? That's where this is for me, which is everybody wondering because no one knows what his plan is and what he's going to do.
Right.
And it's intriguing. It's interesting because we're trying to figure it out and we won't know until we get there.
Right. And like maybe because what's his goal here? His goal is to get paid. His goal is to get the contract that he wants. And anything that happens between now and the start of the year for James Cook will be, other than the normal and obvious work that he'll do, in the workout room and on the practice field and film to get ready for the actual season, his other motivation is going to be, hey, how do I get that deal? How do I get that contract? And I really wonder if he'll take it to this point, or if he'll even just make the Bills call his bluff. I'm not playing football on this contract. He's not said that. Not like Trey Hendrickson has said that. Like, guys have said that around the league, and they don't have to hold to it. But Cook has not said that. And you actually have Brandon Beane on the record earlier this month saying that he has no doubt that when it's time to play football, he'll be ready to roll. Speaking about James Cook, the GM is saying, I believe he'll play games. And has also been on the record saying things about how, for him to earn a contract like that, like he's kind of got to do it again. Like, we'd like to see him do it again. That's not his exact wording, but that's how Beane has sounded on the matter of James Cook's contract. Like, let's see you do it again. And that idea that, they believe he'll be out there, is Cook want them to think I won't? And that's maybe a good question. Not whether he actually even will hold out of games. I don't believe that he'll ever get to that point. But does James Cook want the Bills to believe that he'll miss? He'll miss time?
Do you think he or his agent have communicated anything about his plans?
To the Bills themselves?
Yes.
That's a good question. I don't know from a bargaining standpoint what's better for you, leaving them in the dark, or I think probably leaving them in the dark would, right? If you told them you want a new deal, if you told them ahead of time, I'll be there for training camp, or I'll be there week 2 of training camp. You kind of lose all your leverage. What about even
mandatory minicamp? When Sean McDermott says we've been in contact, and he says he'll be here when he'll be here when he needs to be here. When he's ready to be here.
When he's ready to be here.
When he's ready to be here. Do you think there's been communication between Cook's side to the Bills' side to say, hey, he'll be there for mandatory minicamp? Or, not right now, or just kind of leaving it open-ended?
I would bet they don't know.
I would agree.
I would bet they don't know if he'll be there for minicamp.
I would agree.
And because I just think if you're Cook and that's your plan is to get that deal, you're not telling them what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least when you're showing up. You're not telling them ahead of time. You want all the talk to be about contract. And any of this stuff would be a show of, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with my current deal, and there's going to be this cloud hanging over our heads until this is resolved. And sometimes you get to a year and the season starts, and then it kind of goes away. That could happen here, and I still, isn't that kind of your gut feeling of how it's going to go? Or do you think it'll happen? A deal will happen? Because Beane has sounded like they're not in a rush to do a deal right now, or feel the need to do it before the season starts. So
I don't think a deal will happen simply from listening to how this has played out for the last 2 months. I mean, Brandon Beane basically said they were far apart, and that's why they pivoted to other guys to get their deals done. And judging by, like when you say he wants 15, I mean, that's obviously the smoke that's out there for his tweets and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe he's willing to kind of massage that. But if that's kind of even close to the number where he's landing, I think that's a tough sell.
Well, what's
for me to think there's going to be a deal done.
What's interesting there is if they weren't really that close and they moved on to other guys, and his standpoint is $15 million, it's interesting to think about what the Bills' standpoint is, what their point of, no return, not point of no return, but what the position is. What their position is, because
how much do they value him at?
Yeah, and there's guaranteed money and how many years you get on a deal too, and all of that obviously is very impactful to a guy's contract as well. But if he's at 15, are you at 9? And that's the golf that's needed for you to move on to other guys, and that's the golf that's needed for there to be this idea that, we don't really think there's going to be a contract done this summer. Does it have to be that big?
Yeah.
If the Bills were at 12, I feel like they would still be. He might be there because they would think, okay, the deal is on its way to being done. We're only a couple of $1 million apart.
Yeah, the question of what constitutes far apart, what constitutes close,
right?
If you're talking, there's a difference. If you're talking, okay, Josh Allen making $50 million a year, let's say, and if you're negotiating like, well, we're offering 35, it's 50. That's pretty far apart.
That's a huge difference,
right?
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
If you're 45 and 50, I think you're pretty close. Yeah. But if you're 10 and 15, you're not. There's the $5 million matters.
Right. That's 50% of your. That's 50% of your base salary per year.
I mean,
that's the difference.
For Brandon Beane to kind of put it that way a couple months ago.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think that anything's going to get done anytime soon.
So you think your gut feeling is that he is going to play this year, but on that expiring contract? Is that what you would guess right now?
It is my guess right now.
Yeah, I think I would probably say the
but
same.
I don't know. What I struggle with is how does it start though? Does he start to play on it? Is he there on time? Does he miss any actual regular season games? Mm-hmm. That's what I
that would be if he missed regular season games. I almost can't. I can't.
Guys have done
it, but guys have done it. When's the last guy that's done it, though? You see a lot more now.
Well, I mean, Hassan Reddick missed a whole year last year.
That's true. Hassan Reddick's done it a couple times, maybe. Didn't he do it 2 years ago also? You're right. Reddick did it. I'm thinking of like Jamar Chases who have held in and made it very clear to the organization, I'm not happy.
Le'Veon Bell?
They end up playing anyway. Le'Veon Bell sat out a whole season.
I mean,
it's pretty wild.
Right. I don't think anything like that would happen, but...
Yeah.
Right. It's probably all or nothing. It's okay. He's like there early at camp. Or, okay, this is really going on for a while.
Right.
It's not in the middle, probably.
No, I would think it's probably not either. But I think it's very... I could see Cook pushing the limits of it. I don't know that he'll miss games. I still feel like that is a pretty extreme place to take it. But guys have done it. But if you're James Cook and you got your brother in your ear and your agent and you just came off 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and you just came off a year with 16 touchdowns. And, like one thing I want to get to is what really should he be worth? He's asking for $15 million a year. And to get into him as a player, there are arguments for and against him being worth that much money. There are only 3 running backs in the league that make $15 million per year. Per year is a pretty simplistic way to do it. It doesn't take in all the guarantees and everything. Ashton Jeanty, actually, is second in the league at running back in guaranteed money because he just got drafted so high, and I guess the Raiders fully guaranteed his contract. Do you know that? $35 million. That's happening a lot, I guess. But it's Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry.
And Henry's exactly at 15.
And he's exactly
on his new
at 15.
extension.
Right. Those are the only 3 running backs that are at $15 million per year. McCaffrey, Barkley, and Henry. Not in that order.
I mean, and if you're the Bills, think of the Bills side. If you're doing your evaluation of James Cook, you're going through, what do we value him at? Are you landing on that? I understand why the Bills probably wouldn't and say,
right,
we're not paying him one of those kinds of guys. You got to do comparables. So where do we value him based on where the league is? Because that's how it's done and where other guys are. I mean, we could look at the list and say, where would he fall?
Yeah.
You have James Conner. You can get down to $10 million. Aaron Jones. Josh Jacobs is 12. Kamara is 12.2. I think you're probably looking lower than that. You're looking at the Joe Mixons and James Connors and David Montgomerys of the world who are below $10 million a year.
Yeah. 803-0550, the phone number. Let's squeak Butch in here before we get to a break. Butch on the east side, what's up?
Good morning, my friends. I appreciate it. I love WGR. I love MSG. To the fans who listen and watch, Butch definitely loves you. I just want to get right on to it, what you guys are speaking about. It's the perfect storm. This is the perfect storm for James Cook's agent. It's the perfect storm for the Buffalo Bills, and I'm going to tell you why. The Buffalo Bills are going on Hard Knocks at training camp. Before this happened, we didn't know we was going to be on Hard Knocks. Before James Cook and all this financial situation happened, we didn't know nothing about this stuff. Now we're about to go on Hard Knocks. He could come in and don't even, like you say, he can hold in, hold out, whatever he can do. It's going to be a topic of Hard Knocks. At the same time, the whole NFL, the whole 31 other teams knows this guy is a top back. At the same time, Buffalo has 3 other backs. You know, we even got Frank Gore Jr. ready to ball. Brandon Beane knows exactly what is going on. This draft we just passed was weak. It wasn't a strong draft. Next year's draft is the strongest draft. Brandon Beane might play this guy out and say, listen, hey, if he signs somewhere else next year, so be it. We get a compensatory pick. Hope we got it. He was a second-round pick when we draft him. Hopefully we can get another 2, and we just break even. But what's going to happen is this. This is me speaking now. I really believe this man's going to hold in. I believe he's going to hold in training camp. He's going to be the talker. It's going to be talk of the whole Hard Knocks. They're just going to follow James Cook. They're going to follow him walking around. They're going to follow him moping. I'm not saying moping. He might be on the treadmill, whatever he's going to do. But at the same time, during preseason, somebody's going to get hurt. Someone's going to call Brandon Beane. It's a possibility this man might get moved out of here by training camp, and Brandon Beane might get his number 2 back and maybe another extra pick later on. But at the same time, for both sides of the fence, it's a win-win. And don't get me wrong, I would love James Cook. I would love him to get a deal. I would love him to be here with Josh Allen running that ball, running that rock. But at the same time, we got 3 other backs, and 3 other backs are ready to roll and rock. Matter of fact, if you add Evans in here, we got 4 other backs. But I'm just saying, is looking at this Hard Knock situation, fires on James Cook's agent side, it's a perfect storm that he can do. But thanks so much for taking my call. Love you guys, man, and you guys take care of yourself.
Thanks.
Sal, do me a favor, kiss the queen and give my nephew a high five.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks, Butch, for the call. I had not thought about the Hard Knocks component to it. I do not think the Bills would do anything differently because they're on Hard Knocks, but I also could see them wanting to, maybe it sparks an extra conversation that helps you towards a deal because, whether they want to be on it or not in the first place, I'm sure they don't want HBO would want this. The viewer would want this. I'm sure the Bills don't want a massive part of the Hard Knocks story for them to be about James Cook not being there or being there and wanting a new contract.
No, I'm sure that's the case. Having Hard Knocks there already is a distraction in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This just adds a layer to it, meaning that this is something that you talk about instead of, in a lot of ways, maybe it takes the focus off some other things, I guess, that they could be focusing on. But you're right. I don't think that that's good for anyone. You do wonder what it looks like for James Cook and his side. Does his, from a PR standpoint, from Cook's PR standpoint, if you're his agent, do you want that? Do you want him being highlighted that he's not, if he holds in and they're following him around, he's not practicing?
Yeah.
Does that help his cause or hurt his cause with fan opinion, public opinion, or even teams around the league?
Yeah. And by the way, they would not get a second-round pick and compensatory for Cook if he were to leave. Looking at that formula, I guess I didn't know that it was a combination of your average per year and also how many snaps you play, your snap percentage, because that might ding Cook a little bit because he plays less than 50% of the snaps for the Bills. A comparable for him might be Alvin Kamara. Kamara's at $12 million and plays, 55% of the snaps. If that's about what James Cook is, it's a 5th-round pick. Maybe you get up to a 4th in different circumstances. They're not getting a second. A second is almost unheard of.
We can't get a second anyway.
You can't get a second at all.
3rd is the best you can get in compensatory picks.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're definitely not getting a second then in that. James Cook, what two parts of this. What is your gut feeling on what's going to happen, and what is he worth? Not just what is he worth in the league, what is he worth to the Bills? And what a next contract could look like for him.